dimensions away from Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides being called Pirates of the Caribbean 4. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, released in 2011. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is directed by Rob Marshall this time around, and it's written by Ted Elliott and Terry Russo once again, and is based on the characters created by Ted Elliott, Terry Russo, Stuart Beatty, and Jay Wolpert, but on the Walt Disney ride, and on the book Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides by Tim Powers. The movie stars once again Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz, Ian McShane, Kevin R. McNally, Jeffrey Rush. The movie this time around is about there are three groups of people searching for the Fountain of Youth. And so what happened is you have Jack Sparrow's who is in Blackbeard's group searching for the Fountain of Youth. Then you have Barbossa, who is leading the British to the Fountain of Youth. And then you have the Spanish, who are more or less the smaller, part of the movie, and they're looking for the Fountain of Youth. Out of all the characters in the movie, they have the least amount of screen time out of the three groups. The main is, of course, Blackbeard's group, and then you have Barbossa, which is the B plot, and the very small C plot is the Spaniards. I will say, I'm a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the first one, love the second one. I even like the third one. I don't. I literally I've seen every single one of these movies, and I own all single of the movies. I literally just seeing the movie was really exciting for me because I saw this in theaters the week after my birthday because I'm a huge Pirates of the Caribbean. My mom took me and my sister to see this movie. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I was so excited because I love the three movies, and I was like, I can't wait to see the fourth one. And I love this movie. I really did. As a kid, I loved the movie. I was like, okay, this is a 10 out of 10 movie and everything. And up until recently, I always reviewed all the five movies highly. And I did a rewatch recently, and I'm like, okay, the first one is a top tier, still 10 out of 10 movie. The second one, I was like, it's really good, but doesn't have like a big climactic ending like the way the first one did. It ends more like Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, I respect them. I admire what they did, but it didn't really need to have an Empire Strikes Back type of feel to the movie. And so I think that's really where I had issues with the movies because the movie, the third act of the movie is really good, but it doesn't feel like it didn't really feel like the third movie. It feels like they were making the second movie and they're like, okay, we have all these problems. We'll just put all the problems into the third movie. We'll just try to fix this movie as we go. And it feels like turns out that's actually the case. And so the third movie has so many problems because there's so many storylines juggling after juggling. And everybody's got a plot, and I think that was the big issue. With this one, I do like that it feels like a cohesive plot, like the first movie, where it's not a two-parter. It's one of you have a bad guy, and they're all looking for the same thing that's the MacGuffin of the movie. And then at the end they fight, and the bad guy dies. I like that. They find the MacGuffin, they fight, and the bad guy dies, and they destroy the MacGuffin. I like that about the movie. I think this is the first movie since the first one that actually does that, where it's not just leaves it on a cliffhanger or resolves the story from the last movie. And in a way it does, though, we have a story because they set up the Fountain of Youth at the end of the movie, the very end of the last shot. And I will say I do really like this movie, though, because, wow, it's so cool. You have Johnny Depp, who plays Jack Sparrow once again, and doesn't miss a beat as Jack Sparrow. I think one thing I like about his character as Jack is he's literally because the whole movie starts out with him looking for the Fountain of Youth and everything, and he's not really looking for it, but he was at a courthouse and oh, Jack Sparrow is charting a course to Fountain of Youth, and everybody gets word. So when they find Jack Sparrow's like after he gets captured and everything, he's like, I have no clue. I'm just trying to just get on and find my pearl, and that's it. And then he finds out Barbossa got taken, Blackbeard attacked him, and they took the ship and everything and sunk it, and then of course Barbossa lost his leg. That's kind of what happened, and everything, in which Barbossa is kind of like a traitor. And there's some things in this movie I had issues with. One thing is, I don't think Barbossa would ever align with the good guys. He would always be pirate all the way. And they kind of established in the last movie, the bad guys, the British, were the villains. The Brother in Court. And he's now siding with them in a way. And I'm like, even if it's a new group of people, it's still the Brother in Court. I'm just saying. It feels like it kind of gives the middle finger to the last movie in a way, because it's that's the whole entire premise of the fucking movie, and so it's it just kind of throws that out the window in this movie, and I'm just I understand why, but it's just really, and also, Blackbeard, I know me and Ryan were talking about this, and we were Ryan's Blackbeard is just not as a villain as Barbossa or Davy Jones was. But he's literally just there. Like he has nothing to the plot other than he's just there. Like he doesn't do nothing in the movie. And I disagree. I think he does kill people in the movie, and he is the integral part of the third act of the movie. Like without him, I don't think you really get to the integral part. And I do think that but I do agree there are some things about Blackbeard I hate. Like the one thing I hate more than anything is there's a missionary in the movie who is basically there to replace Orlando Bloom. He adds nothing to the movie. He's not important to the plot whatsoever, other than hey, it's a hot guy. You have a hot chick, which is the mermaid. That's the Will and Elizabeth storyline, and we have to have a romance. And so, because Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom are not in this movie, so you have to have a young couple that are like in love and shit. That's the only reason he exists to be in this movie. And also to antagonize Blackbeard. He literally is just there to give Blackbeard the business. That's all he's there for. He adds nothing to this plot whatsoever. I'm literally just like at one point in the movie after Blackbeard like does like this cool thing with the rope where he grabs all the men, on the ship and everything after they try to create a mutiny, and he basically has them all hung up by ropes and everything. He literally then the missionary gives him like the business by saying like, you're he says, I think you're a coward and everything, and he goes, huh? What, everything like at first you're like, oh, he's gonna kill him, but then the daughter intervenes, but then I'm just thinking like, why? He adds nothing to for what's the reason? He adds nothing to the story. He's not an integral part. He literally is just there. Like, also, you don't need him, Blackbeard. Like, really, you could literally, like, throughout the movie, he's giving Blackbeard the business, like, insulting him for killing people. He's there insulting him for being like, oh, you're a coward and a thief and everything else, and your soul, you have no soul, and everything. I'm just thinking, like, why are you letting him continue to berate you in front of your men? Your men are looking down like, oh, he's not going to kill me because this little bitch is giving him the business the whole entire movie. Just seriously. And I understand, it's at the end of the movie, they use him to get the mermaid tiered. But, like, still, I think you could have figured out ways of, like, torturing and stuff to get her to cry. But, it was just so dumb that they have him, like, the missionary. And, of course, then at some point in the movie, he gets he gives the mermaid a shirt, because there's a cool sequence with the mermaids where they have all these mermaids and they're attacking and eating people, and they're like sirens. They're so cool. And like all of a sudden, and then of course they, Blackbeard's ship burns a lot of them away, so that way they escape. And then of course they capture one, because this guy falls in love with her by looking at her a few minutes after he stabs her with a sword. He pulls the sword and he looks and says, oh, she's so beautiful. They capture her, and and then of course, the tank falls over and everything, and they grab the mermaid by the feet. They grab the mermaid's feet and everything, and they're like, and then he gives her jacket because she's naked, and I just thought that was like, I like that part, but then like where he just has all of a sudden like like a little like a vest, he's wearing, and I'm like, where did he get that from? He didn't even have no like he literally had like just a shirt on last time. Like, where did he even keep it? Did he keep it in his, like up his ass or something? Where the hell is his clothes at? There he come up with that. And so that irks me a little bit. And also, like, and at the end, you never explain what happens to him. Like, he just gets literally stabbed, and then, like, the mermaid carries him away, and that's it. I'm like, does he turn him into a male mermaid? Does he die? Does she eat him? We don't know. And then on top of that, you have Blackbeard, which I like the fight sequence at the end with Blackbeard and Barbossa. I thought that was great. I thought that was awesome. I loved it. The mermaid attack sequence was great. I like the whole, like, the whole him in London, like, and him trying to escape from, like, the king and everything. That was great moments. Everything about the court scene, everything was great. And I do like that they brought back the henchmen from the Brother in Court in the last couple movies, and that they're just sitting there, like, at one point one of the guys just pulls out a flag and says, the king, and then he gets shot, and then he falls down dead, and they're like, someone make a note of that man's bravery. And I'm like, that's so great. I like that. And then the one guy from the first Dead Curse of the Black Pearl henchman, he gets stabbed in the chest, and Barbossa throws him aside. Like, I don't give a shit about him. I thought those were great. Those were great moments in the movie and everything. And I do like how Barbossa becomes, a badass again at the end. He gets on this ship, that he's like, he kills Blackbeard, and he's like, stabs him in the chest, and then he's like, I claim his ship and his crew. Let's go, And I'm like, awesome. That was awesome. I'm like, that's something Barbossa would do. And I do like how the French show up at the end. I do kind of wish they got in the battle, but instead I like how they just destroyed everything and all that. And they're like, only God can decide this, immortality, and then they leave. And I thought that was great and everything. I do think, and I also like how Jack tricked, Angelica and Blackbeard had drank that, because Blackbeard has a daughter in this movie that's his first mate, and that I guess they just establish it. Like, they never really explain if that is truly his daughter, or if he believes it or if not. And that just, they leave that unresolved, and I guess it's for interpretation. I do like, though, like at the end, how he still so selfishly does drink that, and Jack tricks them, and then he dies, like in Indiana Jones style, where he turns into a skeleton. I thought that was great. I thought that was amazing. And I like how he leaves Angelica for dead, like on an island like him, with one shot and everything. She wastes a shot. And it's just so great. I mean, that's what I like about these movies. And I think it is a great movie. I know some people may not like this movie because, like, it's not as good as the last couple, but I really appreciate this movie, and I think I really enjoy it, and I'm glad that they made this movie. And if I had to give this movie a grade, I'm going to give it a solid A minus. Thank you so much.
Sharpton for president, y'all. I'm outie.
Jesse Jackson for VP.